All right, we're back. Welcome back to the channel. This is Master Guitar, where you can master the guitar. All right, a couple of things. I got a couple of philosophical things I want to talk about today. And the first is, there is always going to be those that say no. And what I mean by that is, when I worked in a music store for years, I constantly heard people refer to Yngwie Malmsteen as wingnut. And it wasn't meant as an affection. It wasn't meant as a recognition of his talent. What it was meant as they were making fun of him for being good. So among musicians, there is this culture class of, you have to be mediocre. You can't be terrible. You can't be great. If you are great, it is limited to being a great blues-style player. If you have great chops, if you have great 80s guitar playing chops, great 90s guitar playing chops, 2000s, death metal, nu metal, heavy metal, hair metal, any kind of metal, neoclassical, if you are anything other than mediocre, you are made fun of. You are put down. Don't let that distract you. I thought I would play the Strat today because I spent all summer long sitting there going, oh man, I gotta have a Strat, I gotta have a Strat. For the last 12 months, it's just been focusing on get a Strat, get a Strat, get a Strat, get a Strat. Got a Strat, and I sit here playing my Flying V all the time. But then again, I mentioned I'm really a strong Flying V player. I love Flying Vs. Okay, don't let it dissuade you from the fact that people are going to say no. Don't let it dissuade you that people are going to make fun of you. Don't let it dissuade you that people are going to minimize your accomplishments and say, I think that. You know, don't worry about that. Be what you want to be. Yngwie does his thing. I do mine, you do yours. So, let me explain my fascination with Yngwie is that in 1980, 1981, I was raised listening to a lot of classical music, and I was always trying to find a way to combine it, like Edvard Grieg, in the Hall. And then, Lyenda by, Isaac Albanese. So, you got all that. I was listening to that for years. And I began trying to, how can I combine what I'm listening to, New England and Judas Priest and Scorpions and all the other, all the other rock bands I was listening to, Alice Cooper, a couple other bands. So I was trying to find ways to combine that, and I was listening to Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, because I was raised in a family where you listen to a lot of classical music. So when I heard Yngwie, I was thinking, this is fantastic. This is exactly where I wanted to go. And I remember hearing it live. It was the 2-hour metal hour with Doug and Jack's Metal Attack. They ended up changing it to Doug Fry. and on WHJY in Providence. And I remember hearing, Yngwie, get that whole... And, oh man, this thing's out of tune. It's so cold out here, by the way. Once again, it's cold out here. It's a garage. It gets cold. So, I heard Yngwie, and that was everything I was trying to do. And so I went onto this, how do you play like that? How do you play like that? And, right about that time is when you started getting the Metal Method by Doug Marks connection. But that was when Metal Method came out, so I ordered those, and that's when all the Starlix videos started coming out, and I can't remember Arlen Roth's series, but there was a few of those that I wanted to get. I did get a few of them, but there wasn't many. But so the first of the, and also the Learn to Burn series, which I thought was great. I really recommended them to everybody, but no one else bought them, and so I ended up being one of the few that bought the Learn to Burn series. I thought they were awesome. And the first of the Starlix videos I bought, actually was audio, was the Yngwie Malmsteen. And I thought, oh, they should all be like that. And they weren't. Developing who you are and what you are is based on what are your needs, what do you like. I have a weird, eclectic mix of influences. One of my biggest influences, believe it or not, is Neil Smith from the Alice Cooper Band. Because there was a way that he would play the drums and where he'd throw in the accents. I played bass for a long time. I'd be playing along, with my Gibson Grabber, and there's just this need to reach for that note. Whenever he'd hit the cymbal and put in the accent, that's where I'd try to get the accent on the bass. So when I moved over to the guitar, I found myself getting this kind of thing because that was a very Neil Smith-ish thing to do that. Slightly influenced by Dennis Dunaway as a great bass player, but more by Neil Smith. And when I met him, I told him that. I didn't have a chance for a long discussion to tell him, hey man, you inspired my guitar playing through your drumming. And I don't think he understood that. And Neil, if you see this, this is really, shout out to you. Yngwie was a big, big influence. There's, other guitar players who were big influences, but I wasn't a big influence by Aerosmith guy. I wasn't a big influence by Van Halen guy. Just Yngwie had a lot of the stuff that I wanted to grab onto. So, not so much, he got into this big blues phase after a while. But that's Yngwie, that's not me. So, differences between Yngwie and me is that I will use, these two pickups, I'll use these two. He only uses this, or that. He doesn't use the combinations of pickups I do. I'll do this sound, he won't. So if I bought an Yngwie Strat, I'd have to have the 3-way selector replaced with a 5-way immediately, because I use those. That's me. I'm not Yngwie. I'm me, and I do the things that I'm interested in. And just he was what I grabbed onto because that was the same thing I was trying to accumulate. Don't let the naysayers determine what you are. Don't feel you have to be a purist in certain ways. Like Yngwie will do pick and do a lot of legato stuff with his left hand. I do some of that, but for me it's more. And Yngwie would tell me if he was sitting here with me, don't do what I'm doing because you want to, because you're trying to copy me. Do what you need to do to be you. And that's the same thing I'm doing. I mean, I listened to a huge amount of Rush. I don't sound anything like Alex Lifeson. I don't think anyone sounds like Alex Lifeson. Alex Lifeson is, we aspire to be, fill in your favorite name of the guitar player. And if we're fortunate, we end up like Alex Lifeson, where he's a great guitar player who doesn't know he's a great guitar player. Very underrated, few people sit there and say, oh, he's a big influence on me. He did a lot of things I wouldn't do. He did the volume swells. Because that was a very Alex Lifeson thing. He actually did it with a foot pedal, a volume pedal. I don't do that. Do what you need to do to be a great guitar player. Don't rely on me. Don't rely on, Eddie Van Halen. Don't rely on Yngwie. Do what you do to be you. So that's one of the most important things. Don't let the naysayers get to you because, like I said, in the eyes of most guitar players, you are allowed to be mediocre. You cannot be great. You cannot be bad. You just have to be mediocre. Don't aspire to mediocre. Aspire to be the best. And play the way you want to play. So I give you the tools, for instance, like double stops. You should spend a while learning some double stops. You should spend a while learning, your pentatonics. Soon we're going to get into the diatonic modes, and I'm going to want you to play around with the Lydian mode. It doesn't work for most guitar players. It doesn't work for me. But I'm going to want you to play around with the Lydian mode, the Locrian mode, Aeolian. You got to learn your tools first and decide, I'm going to take from this. I'm going to take from that. Should you listen to Matthias Jobs? I listen to Matthias Jobs. Should you take from him? What inspires you? What do you listen to? Go, wow, that was cool. Uli John Roth, should you listen to him? You probably should. Should you take from him? Only what you like. The things that hit you and you go, wow, that's amazing. I like that. It's really funny that most of my inspirations aren't guitar. Explorer Suite by New England was huge for me. Huge. There's almost no guitar in the song. It's just... that's it. And the rest is all the keyboards and, really one of the greatest rock keyboard players of all time, Jimmy Waldo. A strong classical influence in him. Yeah, it's cold in here, sorry. So a lot of you guys tend to be, I've noticed that my most popular one was the 5 positions of the pentatonics, and I'll be doing more blues soloing stuff and showing you with that, but we'll be getting to that. The important thing is find what you like, find what you need. If you want to be a blues guitar player, be a blues guitar player and be the best one you can be, and don't mind the naysayers. Don't mind the people that are going to say you have to be mediocre. You can't be great. You can't be bad. Be bad if you want to be. It didn't stock. I encourage you to be the best. I encourage you to be the best you can be and play what you want to play. All right, thanks.